YouTube? It's Becky from Becky Writes. This is Becky Reads, and this is the Mean Girls book tag. I am in London with my best friend Mary, and we are filming in her back gardens. Isn't this awesome? It's also very cold, which is a change from California. Question number 1. It's pronounced like Katie. What is the name of a fictional character that you always got wrong?
For me, I always got wrong. I thought it was Brian. It was B-R-Y-N, Lions, which was a wizard character, one of the main characters in Love Interest in a Love Triangle in Kimberly Frost's Southern Witch series, and it was actually Bryn and not Brian.
So I got wrong the character from another witchy series, A Discovery of Witches. There's a character named Isabeau, which is, I guess, the French for Isabel, and I pronounced it because I read it Yesabu. Because there's a Y in the name, so I always got that wrong.
It's okay, Yisabu.
Question number 2. She doesn't even go here. What character would you take from one fictional series and place in another one?
I think recently I read Grace Draven's Radiance. I think that Ildiko would have done, which is one of the main characters, really well in a current book I'm reading, which is The Court of Thorns and Roses. I think that they would be besties.
I would take Katniss Everdeen from the Hunger Games, and I would put her in the Dregs, the gang from Six of Crows, because I think she would be a badass gang member to have on hand, right? With the archery and the sneaking around and the badassery.
On Wednesdays, we wear pink, and this question was all about repetition. So what kind of deja vu feelings did you have from a recent book?
Last year on Christmas, I read Victoria and the Rogue by Meg Cabot, and it was just like every other Meg Cabot book I'd ever read. It was basically the same plot of a rich girl meeting a guy who seems like a jerk but isn't really a jerk, and I think I've read that story 100 times already.
I don't have one.
That's okay.
So the next question on our list is, y'all gotta stop calling each other sluts and whores because it just makes it easier for guys to do the same. So what recent book did you find was the opposite of the girl power feels?
I don't read books that are disempowering to girls. Like, if I get an inkling of that at all, I'm like, nope. So I'd have none.
I would kind of agree with that. I generally gravitate towards a protagonist that's going to be a strong female character. If I had to choose one, I would choose Wildest Dreams by Kristen Ashley, which it was framed around having a really strong protagonist that was very much independent and girl power, but the entire story she's kind of really getting saved by the dominant males in the story, and so I didn't feel that it was really delivering on what they were trying to sell in terms of female empowerment in that story.
Question number 5 is, you go, Glen Coco. Who is a character that you felt you wanted to cheer on while you were reading?
I would definitely say Mercy Thompson in the Mercy Thompson series, that there is a ton, and when I first started the Mercy Thompson series, I was like, there's no way I'm gonna read all these books. And then I just spent weeks and weeks reading all those books.
Famous last words. Famous last words. I would say Sierra Santiago from Shadow Shaper by Daniel Jose Older. She is this feisty, fiery Latina who is thrown into this crazy world that she doesn't know anything about and kind of has to make the best of it. And there's this big scene at the end with all this craziness happening, and I was just like, you go, girl, you just do it. Yes. Yes, queen. Go for it.
Getting loser, we're going shopping. We actually did this last night at Waterstones. What is the average amount of time you spend shopping in a bookstore?
Hours? Hours. Like with an S. Hours.
I kind of will shop like I do my life, very impulsively, so depends. Sometimes it's like 15 minutes in and out. Sometimes it's an hour or more. Once I get in, it's hard to get out.
Yeah. I try not to go to too many bookstores because otherwise that's an entire day. Question number 7. It's not my fault you're like in love with me or something. What fictional character would you need a real life restraining order for?
Jamie Fraser.
Obviously. TV show Jamie Fraser, book Jamie Fraser.
All the Jamies.
All the Jamies.
All the time.
All the time. This is why we're friends.
I can't help that I'm popular. So this is true. So what would be a book that you really were hesitant to read because it was so overhyped?
I would say The Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater. I got into book 2 right around the time The Raven King came out, the last book in the series, and I was really, really worried that it was gonna suck because there was so much hype around it, and sometimes hype can just really fall flat. But I loved The Raven Cycle, all 4 books. I thought they were great.
I would say The Mortal Instruments. I did not read it before the movie. I saw the movie on a plane, had a couple glasses of wine, so I didn't think it was terrible, but nothing that I thought I would actually sit down and spend hours reading. Based on your recommendation, I actually did read the series and liked it. Didn't get through the whole thing. I think I got a little farther than you, got up to like number 4, and the angst just got a little bit too much, but loved the Infernal Devices. Still think it's one of the best series.
She's a life ruiner. She ruins people's lives. Regina George, obviously. What is a villain that you just love to hate?
Queen Cersei from Game of Thrones is one of those people that is a really multifaceted character, and I think that even in a villain role, if the character shows vulnerability, even though she may not show it to her enemies, it can create a really deep villain that you can't see the story being as whole as it is without him or her.
My villain that I love to hate, you guys should probably already know, is the Darkling from the Grisha trilogy.
Oh, good
Obviously,
one. Yeah.
I just love him and I hate him, and he's so great and awful. But great.
Yeah.
But also awful.
I'm not like a regular mom, I'm like a cool mom. What would be a character that is a really favorite or powerful parent figure for you?
I have a tie. So my initial thought was the Weasleys from Harry Potter, because they're like the best fictional family ever. But everyone picks the Weasleys because they're the Weasleys. Molly Weasley is like my dream mom. Not my daughter, you bitch! So, but if I had to pick another character, another family that isn't as famous as the Weasleys, I would say Ari's parents from Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, because they're so supportive and they're very real. They're not like the perfect parents, they're just very human, but they're not jerks either, like lots of parents are portrayed in young adult fiction.
I would say Bren Cornick, that is referred to as the Marok in the supernatural fantasy series by Patricia Briggs, which includes the Mercy Thompson universe, but also the Alpha and Omega series. One of the things I really enjoy, that he's a father figure not just for his like own children, but he's a really solid father figure for kind of all of his tribe.
Question number 11. That's so fetch. What book or series would you like to see catch on?
I think something that's kind of a new series that I'm not entirely sure how popular it is would be the Grace Draven series I was kind of referring to earlier, because I think there's a lot of underlying messages around race and difference, and trying to bring together different types of people into one happy family, and the challenges that come along with that. And I would love to see that, given the current context of our world. I would love to see more of that.
I would say the Rin series by Sherrod Smith. It's a middle grade series that came out in the early 2000s, sort of late 90s, and there's 4 books in the series, and the whole point is that there's these kids at a magic school. This was pre-Harry Potter, kids at a magic school, and one of the characters always turns into an animal in every single one of the books, and they have to get out of these adventures without using violence. There's a huge thing about how one of the characters refuses to use force. One of the characters is training to be like a guard and decides to set down his sword, and like, what does that mean? And I think that they're really great books for like middle grade readers, because they kind of explore the same tropes of like a high fantasy universe, but they kind of turn a few of those things on their heads, and I really liked it, and they mature as the characters mature. Other books by Sherrod Smith are really popular, but not the Rin series, and I think that they deserve a lot more attention. Question number 12. How do we even begin to explain Regina George? What is your favorite kind of character to read about?
I think that I always go back to the same kind of character, and that character has a very strong female protagonist that has a lot of depth and multifacetedness to her backstory, to her current story, and within that, strong characters that aren't just your rough and tumble, I'm going to shoot things and that makes me strong. A strong character that has dealt with things in their life, is still funny and kind and caring towards people around her, and finds that strength and resilience.
I would say the characters I like to read about the most are unlikely heroes, not necessarily anti-heroes because they have a lot of baggage. I mean, those are great, but I like the unlikely hero or heroine who stumbles into a situation, is completely ill-equipped. It's not necessarily the chosen one, right? But it's just this random person who, for whatever reasons, is thrown into this world or war or drama, and they have to sort things out. Usually they're quirky, they have something like awkward about them, and I love seeing how authors grow the character to sort out and survive whatever they've been thrown into.
I just have a lot of feels. What do you do when faced with a book, especially when characters do things you don't want them to, that give you a lot of feels?
I bite my nails. And I also live tweet it, and then I call her, basically.
Depending on the book, I may text you because I don't want to ruin things sometimes, because there's a couple of books you need to read that you need to read.
I haven't read Cookie Kingdom yet.
I would say that sometimes I have to just put it down and walk away and go drink wine.
That's how we deal with feels. We drink wine because we're adults. Question number 14. What's your wig made of? Janice, your mom's chest hair? Which character has one-liners that you wish you had?
I would say Magnus Bane.
Oh,
yeah. He's really good at off the cuff and really giving no fucks.
It's true. I would say Prince Nikolai from the Grisha series.
Oh, good one.
He has got
yeah.
some, especially when he's on the pirate ship situation.
Yeah.
All the one-liners.
Yeah. Boo, you whore. Name a time that a character actions or choices made you roll your eyes.
Basically everything that Clary Frey did in the
Dude, that's my answer. I can't believe you stole it. All the things Clary Frey does,
she
basically
just,
throughout.
I can't.
Yeah. I can't even.
This is our best friend. Okay, so that was the Mean Girls book tag brought to you by Brecky and Mary. If you haven't done this tag, bam, you are tagged. Comment down below and let us know what your answers are for some of these, particularly what is a character that makes you roll your eyes. I hope you guys are all doing well. I will talk to you soon. Bye!